Boy, did I make a big mistake. It's not Theresa, it's Teresa. Anyway, to the review of this episode. The theme for this episode was drugs, and the writer who wrote for this episode implemented several twists in this episode where I felt I had no idea or couldn't predict what was going to happen. An example of this can be seen in the beginning with the character Robert Roos, where he appears to be attempting to rob a woman who is at an ATM, but instead shoots the ATM's camera in an effort to get Gideon's attention. There are also other examples as well through the episode's story. One being with a drug bust on illegal drug dealer Marco Cruz's house, where the police discover a storage area filled with boxes of drugs which can't be connected to him as they were inside a storage room located on a property belonging to his neighbor. Another is when Jimmy and Jeff are tasked with catching fugitive Reggie Walker, who at first appears to be illegally selling drugs but is in fact giving expired medication away for free to those who are ill and can't afford it. While on the subject of the writing, I found that the writer had the idea to provide two sides on the subject on drugs, the good and the bad. The bad represented by typical illegal drug trafficking from Marco, and the good represented by the character Reggie, who, as mentioned before, gives away expired medication to those who need it but can't afford it. I thought this two sides to the story idea to be good and give praise to the writer for this. This sort of derails from the review, but I sort of found it a bit funny and thought it could warrant a mention. Just at the moment where Gideon comes up with the idea to deal with a problem like he usually does, this episode's problem being finding the one in charge of the drug trafficking, I thought he was planning on doing some sort of high-tech thing like implementing tiny tracking chips into money, so that they can track it all the way to the drug dealers who are in charge. What actually happened in the episode was they used powder instead. I guess I sort of got my hopes high expecting something really high-tech, after seeing the previous episode where they inserted a fine wire into a jacket. Everything else about the episode seemed fine, except I felt that the character Robert should have received more praise. I believe this to be so because he was the one who caught Gideon's attention and made him focus on trying to stop drug trafficking. And near the end of the episode, it was him that led the police to Marco's drug lab. I didn't find this lack of praise a big deal, but in my opinion I would prefer he got the right attention. Other than Robert's lack of praise, I thought the episode was good. Jimmy and Jeff got some airtime and continue with the show's theme of having stories involving lesser-known characters. I enjoyed the twists in the episode and would like to see what other ideas the writers can come up with in future episodes.